Among the Russians who are storming Ukrainian positions, there are both motivated soldiers and guest workers. This was stated by Senior Lieutenant, officer of the S3 section of the Svoboda battalion of the NGU Rubezh, Brigadier Ukraine Andrey Krivushchenko, in an interview on Army TV. I am surprised by their motivation. I do not understand what raises it. What makes the one infantryman go to storm one position? To say that there is some Arnold Schwarzenegger there? No, an ordinary soldier. Very often it is just a clerk. It is not uncommon when it is one of the prisoners on a contract who came from prison. In general, it is very difficult to call them specialists there. But they go. 3 to 5 motorcycles are driving. In front of one's eyes, 4 or 2 are destroyed. He is left alone and still heads in the direction of the landing where they had to unload, and one hopes for some success. This surprises me, but it is true, said Krivushchenko. He added that for intercepted conversations of Russian military personnel and an analysis of the actions of the occupiers, one can conclude that the enemy is using barrier detachments. There have been repeated interceptions that all those who return without wounds are to be shot. The fighters themselves, who are captured, confirm that such a story is common among them. Perhaps this is their motivation, added Krivushchenko. However, the military man noted, many Russian occupiers go to war for money. People fell for these advertising campaigns on channels, on boards. A lot of people from boards. Channels mobilized into the Russian army with the call that they pay normal money. They may just pay it, but in order to get it, you have to survive. And the enemy dies like a fly on the front line, Krivushchenko explained. Earlier, Russian expert Andrey Krivushchenko said that full support of Russian citizens for the special military operation against Ukraine and the willingness to die for Putin's palaces and Rottenberg's yachts can be assessed as zombie behavior. But this is not enough for the Putin regime. He wants to control the personal lives of Russian citizens. Therefore, the regime pays a lot of attention to the internal organization of Russian life. The Kremlin encourages initiatives and passes laws that squeeze the possibility of freedom and alternatives out of every pore of Russian society and ultimately paralyze the will of Russians, he added.
Footage of the earthquake that struck the Kamchatka Peninsula in northeastern Russia has been released. Footage shared on social media shows the quake causing widespread damage and a tsunami in the Pacific Ocean. Evacuations have begun in some areas. There were no reports of any deaths or injuries. The 8.8 magnitude quake, the strongest in 70 years, hit mainly the Kamchatka and Kuril peninsulas.
Жестко трясет. Мама здесь?
Да.
Борис, звони быстро, посъёбка на порта.
Several tsunamis hit Sakhalin Severokurilsk after a magnitude 8.7 earthquake struck Kamchatka, the strongest since 1952. It was followed by a magnitude 7.9 earthquake in Severokurilsk. At the moment, a state of emergency has been declared in the Severokurilsky district. The aftermath of the natural disaster was captured on video. According to Sakhalin Region Governor Valery Limarenko, the third tsunami wave was the strongest. However, despite the scale of the incident, there were no casualties on Sakhalin. As for the scale of the destruction, it is difficult to determine at this time. We think that the electrical networks are damaged, we don't know the scale, we have turned off all the electricity. And we will turn it on only after the Ministry of Emergency Situations commands that it will be possible to enter the city. We assume that some water supply networks are also damaged, said Valery Limarenko. The aftermath of the tsunami was also captured by drone. The footage showed the coastal area of Severokurilsk, in particular the fish processing plant, which the authorities reported was flooded. Meanwhile, several whales washed up on the shores of Japan. The animals were shown on Japanese television. There, as well as in Hawaii, Chile, Ecuador, Peru, Mexico and China, a tsunami threat was also declared. At present, a total of 2.7 thousand people have been evacuated in the Kuril Islands after the earthquake. The camp of the Russian Geographical Society was also washed away from the coast of the Kuril Islands. Everyone in it managed to escape and is waiting for help. The tsunami threat remains. In connection with this, it was decided to shorten the working day in government agencies.